White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre faced pointed questions from Fox News correspondent Jacqui Heinrich regarding the administration's apparent reluctance to credit former President Donald Trump for a recent ceasefire deal. The interaction highlighted a back and forth over who deserves acknowledgement for the agreement and underscored the administration's focus on their role in the process.
Why is it that you seem unwilling to extend any credit to Trump for this deal? Couldn't he just have said, hold off until I'm in office?
What I will say is that what we know to be true, what we know this process, how it has moved over the past 8 months, this is a deal that happened under the framework that this president put forward uh, and was endorsed by the world. And this is also an administration that has had certainly the support, the back of Israel that helped denigrate Hamas, their military severely, weaken them. And we created, because of also doing that, we created the conditions for this deal. That is what has happened over the last 8 months. And we have talked closely, worked closely, coordinated closely with the incoming administration. And that is how we've been able to get to this point. And the reason we were able to do that, having that conversation with the transition team, is because this president believed in the importance of having a peaceful transfer of power, right? And having a transition that worked for the American people and had the American people at the forefront in trying to make sure that we got this done.
I guess that we've heard variations of that answer through the briefing, but I guess more plainly, I'm wondering, if you'll just say your view, which seems to be that Trump gets no credit.
I've shared my view. I don't have anything else to share. I've shared how we got to this point. The president shared that moments ago. He laid out in very succinct way on how we got to this point. I've talked about Brett McGurk, who's on the ground talking to negotiators, has been there working at the direction of this president, the leadership, obviously, of the National Security Advisor. This has been something that has been in the works for months, way before November. That is just how this has worked. I'm not here to talk about the transition. I'm not here to talk about who gets credit, not get credit. I'm here to talk about what this president has been able to do. And here's what is also incredibly important here. We're going to get hostages who are going to go home to their family. After 15 months of, I don't even want to think the horror that they have gone through. I can't even imagine it. And I think that matters. I mean, we're going back and forth about credit, but people are going to go home to their families. And that is so important. And hopefully the phases will continue and we'll get to an end of war here. And that is important. And let's not forget, increase that humanitarian aid into Gaza, because there are people there who need that aid and the assistance.
Jean-Pierre emphasized the Biden administration's work over the past 8 months to create conditions for the deal, citing their leadership in denigrating Hamas, bolstering Israel's position, and facilitating humanitarian aid into Gaza. This is a deal that happened under the framework this president put forward and was endorsed by the world, Jean-Pierre said. She also highlighted the administration's coordination with the outgoing administration during the transition period. Heinrich pressed further, asking directly why the administration seemed unwilling to extend any credit to Trump for the deal or acknowledge whether his input might have influenced its timing. Jean-Pierre refrained from directly attributing any part of the success to the former president, reiterating the administration's focus on achieving results for the American people. "I'm not here to talk about credit," she stated. "I'm here to talk about what this president has been able to do." The interaction reflects a broader tension in public discourse over how successive administrations acknowledge or critique one another's contributions to policy outcomes. Jean-Pierre's comments emphasized humanitarian results, including the release of hostages and increased aid to Gaza, over assigning political credit. "We're talking about people going home to their families after 15 months of horror," she added. "That is what matters." This exchange is not the first time Heinrich has challenged Jean-Pierre. Previous interactions have seen Heinrich question economic policies and statements about democracy, reflecting a pattern of scrutiny over the administration's narratives and framing. Critics argue that both administrations could have cooperated more transparently, while supporters of the Biden administration highlight the complexity of international negotiations and the groundwork laid by current leadership. The focus on outcomes rather than credit underscores the administration's effort to pivot toward tangible humanitarian achievements.